What we're looking at today is wheel hangers. So if you have a car that uses bolts to hang your wheels from, you know how difficult it can be to start this bolt while you're trying to hold up the wheel. Now back in the day when I had air cooled, it was real easy. The wheels were steel. The wheel was right here. It was easy to start them. The wheels were light. They were 15-inch, nothing to them, 165, 80, 15s. Now you can hold up the wheel and start it with a socket like this, but you're still trying to hold the wheel. Now back when my kid had a Mark II, I used this. I bought it. It's nicely knurled, but it's aluminum and I feel these threads wouldn't hold up. So I made my own. Of course it's not knurled. I didn't have that ability. Anyway, threads were longer. It was made out of steel and you can hang the tire off of it. Now some of the later Audi kits, toolkits, came with these wheel hangers. Now they work pretty good. It's plastic, but the thing was I really didn't like the depth, okay, because if you've got a deep wheel in the bolt area, this can get a little far in and it makes it hard to grab it. Now you can take it out with this, but that's why I bought this. This is made by Consolidated Industries, 14 by 1.5 pitch, which works on Audis and later VWs. Nice amount of threads on it. It's made out of stainless. It's got a nice knurled area which allows you to, put it on and off. But the other thing I like about it is it has a hex on the end, so you can stick a socket in it. Now the interesting point on this is, even though this is metric, the hex that fits is a 3/16. Anyway, you can chuck this up in an electric screwdriver and run it in and out, and it makes it pretty easy. So that's my preferred choice, and that's what I use. Sometimes when I'm changing brake pads on all four wheels before a track event, I have one of these in each wheel. We're going to show you how to use a wheel stud. When you do your wheel stud, you want to line up one of these bolts, whether it's 4 or 5, you put one at the top. That way when the wheel hangs, it hangs straight. So you take off your top bolt. You set it aside. Now, I'm going to show you this wheel hanger that comes in some of the Audi toolkits. All right, you can screw this all the way in till it stops. You want to have good thread engagement. But the problem is, if you had to loosen this up, you'd never be able to get a screwdriver in that hole. So that's the reason I prefer the stud I bought. These studs I bought, they're only $25 for a pair, okay? So that's kind of cheap. You always start things by hand. Then you can run it up. And you got your wheel hanger. Now you can take off the rest of your bolts. So now, as you can see, you're not trying to take the last bolt out and hold onto the wheel. The whole idea behind this wheel stud. Now I know some people change all these bolts to stud inserts and put on nuts. I haven't had a problem in 50 years of owning VWs. Okay, I've never lost a lug nut. And then there's, some people say you can't do this, but I do. I put anti-seize on my lug bolts. They say, oh, it'll come out, or it will change the torque, or along those lines. I've never had a wheel come off. So now you got your wheel hanging, and you can take it off. All right. Now, I'm not going to set it down because this thing's like 28 pounds or more, and I'm old. So now what you want to do is you put your wheel back on, and you start putting your lug nuts in. Kind of hold it. You do a bottom one so it holds it at the bottom, and you do it by hand. Now they're all started, so you don't have to worry about whether or not you stripped out the hub. Because if you strip out a hub, then you're putting an insert in it of some type, helicoil, time cert, and that's a pain, and you don't want to do that. Or the other thing is you ruin a hub, and then you're trying to refine a replacement. Which if you have a later Audi, that's probably possible. But if you have an early Audi like this one, finding an S2 hub is not exactly easy. Now, so now we got to take this out. Now the knurling versus the plastic on this makes this easier to get out. So if you don't want to use a little impact, you can do that. But this just saves a hell of a lot of time. Boom. It's out. Cap back on it. You take your last wheel bolt. You start it. And you run it up. Your wheel is now back on. So that's how you use wheel studs. These are my thoughts. This is what I do. You don't have to.